Just like the government in Resident Evil 3, Capcom finally dropped the bomb by revealing Resident Evil 9 Requiem. In RE9, we're going back to Raccoon City, the place where it all started. Years after the city got nuked off the map, it's now a destroyed ghost town. I'm just glad that Capcom didn't forget their roots. Fans have been waiting 2 decades for the return of this location. Now it's finally coming back. Now let's talk about what this game needs to deliver. Because if Capcom plays this right, RE9 could be the most important Resident Evil since RE4. The setting alone is enough to get hyped. We're finally exploring the ruins of Raccoon City. I hope we get to revisit classic locations and see the destruction. Let us revisit the RPD, see what's left of the clock tower, and maybe even walk through the zoo from Resident Evil 3. These locations look great, and I love the RPDs barely intact and rubbled, but I always wondered, what do the civilians in this universe actually think happened in Raccoon City? Do most of the world think it was a containment incident? Was it all a cover-up? It would be interesting if exposing the truth of what happened in Raccoon City becomes the main story objective. That would hit hard, especially because it would show that the government was working with Umbrella. What I'm really hoping for is that the truth about Raccoon City finally goes public. In this game, we'll be playing as a new character, Grace Ashcroft, an FBI agent and daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft, the journalist from Resident Evil Outbreak. You can also read her entries in across the games of the series. A nice Easter egg if you ask me. If Capcom's smart, this is the bridge to Outbreak. I'm calling it now. We're either getting a remake or some kind of spin-off that ties into the original multiplayer survival stories. Grace's whole arc might be revolved around uncovering the truth of her mother's death. Either way, I'm excited about this new protagonist. Now, a lot of people said that we will be playing as Leon or Jill this time around. Well, where the hell is Jill and Leon? Are they going to sit this one out? Or are we going to get a Chris Redfield and Resident Evil 7 situation where they show up in the last final 15 minutes to save the day? They might be playable in a DLC down the line. Either way, just don't keep these icons on the bench, Capcom, or else fans will riot. But according to insiders, Leon might be the main protagonist, being more playable than Grace, and Raccoon City might not even be the main location. If that's the case, that's a bit of a letdown, because I was looking forward for another survival horror adventure in the city of Raccoon. I guess we'll just have to wait for further confirmation. Now, I might be the only one talking about this, but I wonder if Ethan Winters gets mentioned in this game. Maybe the events of the 8th game ties into this one somehow. I know he dies in Village, so he won't make an appearance, but still it would be nice if he gets mentioned, even if it's an Easter egg. Now, call me crazy, but Resident Evil 9 might set up a full Resident Evil 1 remake. Think about it. In Resident Evil 7, we got the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake, a return to horror. After Resident Evil Village, we got Resident Evil 4 remake, the theme being returning to the village. Now with Resident Evil 9 themed around Raccoon City, it leaves me speculating if we will return to that mansion on the outskirts of Raccoon City. The Spencer Mansion filled with living dead and other terrifying monsters. The original nightmare. We're going back to roots, baby. If we're going back to roots, then Grace Ashcroft might be the key in tying the entire series together. Now, this is what I want to see in the game, an open world horror experience, where we get to explore the dense decayed city blocks of familiar locations. This would actually make me want to explore. Plus the return of classic monsters like hunters, Cerberuses, and the Lickers. I don't want to fight werewolves in hoodies again. Give me the creatures that made this franchise legendary. Also, having an optional third or first person camera perspective works well because I enjoyed both styles, and both styles offer their own unique horror experience. Let us choose our fear. And most importantly, I want this game to focus more on horror. Not action set pieces and explosions that belong in a Michael Bay film. No, but creatures in the shadows, limited ammo, psychological horror, where every corner is a gamble. That is the true Resident Evil style. Now, Resident Evil Requiem is shaping up to be more than a sequel. It's a full circle moment, a return to Raccoon, to the monsters, to the trauma, to the legacy of Resident Evil. I just hope Capcom doesn't mess this up, and based off their previous record, they most likely won't. I'm excited for this edition and will keep you updated if there's any more news to come. Well, that's all I gotta say about that.